In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a regular PDF and actually turn it into an editable PDF online. This is a great option for customizing a PDF if you don't want to print it and you just want to use it as a digital file. It could possibly save you some steps by not having to print it out, flip it over, and print it again, like some of the products on Susan Paradis Piano Teaching resources are intended. The way we're going to do this is to actually go to Adobe's online PDF editor. So the fastest way to do that is to come to Google and type in Adobe Online PDF Editor. Then we can actually come over into the Adobe online tools, edit PDFs with the free online PDF editor, meaning yes, you do not have to buy anything to do this. So the direct URL for this is going to be adobe.com/acrobat/online/pdf-editor.html. So now that we're in here, we can just come over and say select a file. I'm going to go ahead and off screen select my studio calendar. This is included in the purchase of the studio calendar. Over here we can see a preview of the file. It is going to ask you to create an account, so go ahead and do that if you don't already have an Adobe account. Once you create an account and sign in, you can now see the file and you can go ahead and edit it. Now, one thing I'll say is that the text tools inside of Adobe are not as robust as working in Microsoft Word or even Google Docs, but it will get the job done. And it's really nice to be able to have this as a digital file. So, in order to do this, what we need to do is we need to come over to the option that says Edit. It says Edit Content or Organize Pages. Just go ahead and click Edit. You'll see that it takes a second as it's going through and converting and scanning the page, trying to find the text in this image, because basically this is an image and it's trying to convert it into a text file. We don't need to change anything here unless you want to, but what we're going to do is just add text in the center that can be your schedule. So there's two ways I've kind of decided how you could do this. The first and easiest way would be to create a text box. So I'm just going to click Add Text, and then I'm just going to click somewhere here in the center, just a single left mouse click. Creates this text box, and what's kind of funny is by default, I think it's trying to match this font, so it made it really big. So if I write a letter, it's huge, and you can see it's trying to match the color and all that. So that's kind of neat how it tried to do that. So that's cool. But what I want to do is not have this enormous letter A here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select this. On this pop-up here, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I'm going to allow you to copy and paste on the clipboard with Adobe. So I have this, and what I'm going to do now is change the size, something a little bit more manageable, and I'm going to go ahead and move this. Oops. I accidentally moved this whole thing, so I'm going to hit Control-Z to undo. Make sure my text box is selected and move my text box. And I love these lines, these guides, because they help you make sure that your new schedule can line up with the guides of the font above. Okay. So now at this point, we can write anything we want in here, and you can make it any font or any color you want. So say this is where your schedule can go. So it allows you to enter and say you could say August, and then put in a date if you want, 8-19-2024, and then, perhaps tab over a couple times and say first lesson, whatever, probably less exclamation marks. So now that you're in here, you can do this, and if you wanted, you could take this and you could bold it. So it's already bold. So maybe we'll take this and unbold it. And sometimes these fonts won't let you do an unbold. So maybe we'll change it to a different font so that it just looks nice and clean. There we go. My suggestion from an art standpoint would be to try to stick to 2 fonts on something like this, or 3 fonts. You could have the artistic font that's up here, a sub-artistic font, and then a plain font for the actual information that people need to consume. So this is one way you could do it. You notice that if you watched my other tutorial on how to do this, I was using tables to help me format this, and that's something you just cannot do in this program. It won't do tables. So you can just keep going here and keep writing what you want. September, and then say 9/02 2024, tab over, and say Labor Day, no lessons. All right, and you can kind of get the point. So I can come here and select this September and come down to my fonts and try and find the one that was there before. And I was able to do that by finding this under, well, it said recent fonts. So I could come over here and show you again. If for whatever reason you're having trouble finding the fonts, just choose a different font. Looks like I accidentally created an extra text box, so I'm going to select that and hit delete. Okay, another way to do this is that if you want it to look like you're using a table, we could actually put like 2 text boxes side by side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and hit text, click over here to create my text box, move it over, line it up. But this one, I'm going to create it a little bit smaller over here, maybe something like that. And then I'm going to create even another text box. Boop, click in there. Then I'm going to take this one and try and line it up with the one I just created. And pull this one, oops, if I can get it to show up, there we go, over to here. And so I'm going to make this one a little bigger. So now that we've got these 2 things, we could do something kind of like this. I could write August. And then write first lesson. And then over here, I could hit enter, so I'm on my second line, and say 8, well, probably, let's stay consistent here, 08/19/2024. And now it's kind of like we're creating a fake table. So if I was going to keep going like this, I might do something like this. And maybe I want to add an extra space between these things. Just bear with me here. I'm designing and writing at the same time, which is kind of fun. Now, if you want these guys to line up, if you're doing this method, you're going to want to stay in the same font the whole time, and you're going to want to stay in the same sizes, because the moment you start changing font sizes on this side, this will no longer line up, and it won't look like a table anymore. So that's just something to take into consideration when you're editing in this sort of online program. So I'll just go through and do a couple more so you can see maybe what it would look like in the end. And so on and so forth. I would probably even take this one here and make it into a right line. And then maybe I might even take this text box and move it over a little bit to something kind of like that. And that would look really nice, really pretty. And I really love that it already matched my font color. But if I wanted to, I could change the font color as well. All right, so you can change the sizing. You can, if you have a lot more stuff you want to fit in here, like I don't need this thing anymore, so I could get rid of that. And I could bring these guys up. If it'll let me select it and pull it up higher. Maybe that's too high, but whatever. It's like you're the artist. You get to decide where you want it to be. All right, so I'm going to align that up here. Good, and then it's lining up like that, really nice. All right, and so that's how it would work. Now, let's say this is all finished. Then what we're going to do now is we're going to download our finished piece. So I'm going to go ahead and say download. And you can decide if you want to make this a smaller file or not. This sort of thing for just a single page PDF, it doesn't really matter. So you could compress it, but that might lower the quality a little bit, make things more pixelated. But if you have a very slow internet connection, you might be interested in something like that. You also could, if you wanted to, export it out as a PDF. I mean, sorry, as a Microsoft Word document or something like that, or even as a JPEG. So you have options here. I tend to work in PDFs because it shows you exactly what it looks like on the page, so you're not shocked when you eventually do print it out if that is something you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and say download PDF, and I'm going to save it onto my computer off screen, and then I can go ahead and open it and take a look at it, and there it is right there. So yes, you can actually take these files, and even though they're not designed to be edited online, you can with Adobe's online PDF editor. So this is really great. I had a couple people saying, I don't like doing the whole print it out and then, print it again. But then I've also had a lot of people say, I am terrified of editing PDFs in Adobe. So you really have both options. You can do whatever makes you comfortable. And I hope this helps, and please know you can apply this to other images and other products as well, if you ever want to do a little bit of customizing. But please do review the studio policy and my terms of use as far as editing. There's no reselling of this. That is against my policy in my terms of use. But you are free to make edits for personal use.